All right guys, I'm Morgan with On IT Plumbing. Today I want to show you how we treat our service calls when we get called for a toilet problem. This way you're fully aware of what we're going to offer, and if you want to try to fix it yourself, that's fine. But the difference is, with us, we can come out and take care of it professionally and warranty our work, and we'll get it done right away, whereas you might need to make multiple trips to the hardware store. Call us and you don't have to do that. Here's what we got. Just your normal toilet configuration here that we're working on today. We've got to shut the water off because you've always got a couple components to your toilet. You got your water supply, and then you've got your drain where everything flushes out. So when you do turn the water off, I've already done that at the little shutoff valve underneath. You flush it, get the water to drain into the bowl, and then we used a cool product called Liquilock. And that takes and turns that water in the bowl into a gel, so that then we can work on it without anything splashing on the ground or the customer's floor. Keeps everything clean. I've got my little go bag here with all my tools that I should need. And I did throw in a wax ring. This toilet bowl is not caulked, so we're gonna leave it as it was because we're just doing a repair. So first off, let's just show you kind of how these toilets are mounted to the ground. Pretty straightforward. You've got a bolt on each side that secures this toilet to the flange. And reasons that you may need to pull it off the flange would be if you start to notice water leaking around the base. It's likely a failed seal. Usually what can happen over time is these wax seals, if you get if you got a little weight to you, you might start ruining that seal over time, and eventually it leaks around the base and can cause a lot of damage. So we're going to check this seal while we're doing this. And then also you got your water supply under here, and that connects right to the toilet. And we're just going to spin that off by hand. There we go. And then the toilet should pull right off the flange here, which it did, and we can see that looks like it was a pretty good seal. I don't see any of the whole wax pulled up with the toilet, which is always a good sign. Let's take this out here where we can work on it a little bit better. You mind opening that door, Caleb? Okay. We'll show you the components to this toilet. Let me grab my tool bag. When you are changing out a wax seal, you want to go ahead and clean up the wax as good as you can. Always make sure that your flange is in good condition. And this one actually looks like it could use some new screws in the flange. You can see that these screws are either not present or rotted out. So we'll go ahead and recommend putting some new screws in that. With the wax, we're going to use a horned wax. Since the flange is above floor level, that means we can just use one. Sometimes if they're deeper than that, we need to stack two wax rings, no more than 3. If it's more than 3, then you need to extend that flange up. So now let's go look at the toilet itself. So you've got a couple components. You've got your flush valve, which is what transfers the water from the tank into the bowl and creates the siphon, the flush. So as this flapper goes up, which the flapper is attached to the flush valve, when it goes up, when you push the handle down, the flapper raises up, that water is transferred into the bowl, which creates like a siphon effect and flushes the turds out of the bowl, because there's no good way of saying that. And this is the fill valve, which that water line that we just connected goes into this, and it fills into here, and there's a little float. This float tells it when to turn off, and you can see clearly where the water line's at. So when it hits here, it says, hey, shut it off, and when you flush, it drops and it adds more water to the bowl again. Now, normally you're just changing out this fill valve because you'll get a complaint of a running toilet that won't shut off. Typically that's just a fill valve replacement. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and look at this nut down here, Caleb. Literally just spin this nut loose, boom, and the fill valve that's gonna pour some water out will come out. Do we have new fill valves in the shop?
I think so.
Let's go ahead and we'll just grab a new one and put a new one in while we're doing this. Oh, there's one. I can probably reuse the tube off the other one. There it is. All right, we got our new fill valve. If you can't tell, we're in our own shop, so super easy to work on stuff. So again, with these newer Fluid Master fill valves is what I prefer. And what's gonna happen is there's gonna be this nut here that goes up so you can adjust the level that you want. And then when you find the level you want, you lock it back down and then it won't move. So what we're gonna do, simply make sure it's got a seal on the bottom. We're gonna look at it and go, okay, that should be just about perfect. We're gonna grab the new nut that secures this. We're gonna tighten that up, just hand tight. Believe it or not, the companies sometimes will void the warranty if you go more than hand tight on these, but you do want them to be snug. And then we're gonna go ahead and stick this new rubber filled, oh, gotta adjust that and lock it. Come on. I'm gonna go ahead and push that shank down. There we go. Push this rubber tube. This is what, when you flush the toilet, this little fill tube puts a little bit of water into the bowl so that the bowl's not dry, and that creates your trap seal, which keeps the septic odors from coming up into your house. So, you know, with this repair, this would be kind of what we consider a simple repair. And typically when we're going out to a call, we're going to offer a few different options. We're going to offer your basic repair, which is option one. We're going to offer your total repair, which is which is what we're going to show you next. We can change out the fill valve, the handle, the flush valve, do all of it so that you get all new parts. Because as one part ages, it's likely that the other parts are aging. And then the third option is going to be, you know, something like more like an upgrade. Like this toilet is actually a nice toilet, but it is a round front, low toilet. And a lot of times as people get older, they want the comfort height, the ADA or the elongated. So we're always going to offer to see if somebody wants to upgrade their toilet. Otherwise, we would not be doing our job as professional plumbers. So then when we go to change out the flush valve here, there is two nuts on the bottom of the tank. We're going to loosen those. They come off with a washer. Come on. I know this video is going to be a little long and drawn out, but if you're actually working on a toilet, I think it's going to be really helpful because you can kind of skip through and find everything you need here. So this is a 3-inch flush valve toilet. Most of them are like 2.5. So this is more of an unusual one, but they do flush better. And that's what you call your tank to bowl gasket. And this is your flush valve that we just talked about. Now you're gonna wanna have some, what I call man-locks, basically man-sized channel locks, to take this piece off, which is the flush valve. And this one doesn't have a problem, so we're gonna go ahead and put it back on, but I'm gonna go through, walk you through it just as if it was failed. so that you can see what you need to do. Once it gets loose to a certain point, it should just spin off freely. There we go. And then we'll unclip the chain will connect to the lever, the trip lever, which is the handle. And there you go. That is a complete flush valve to a toilet. And you can see that the parts, the seals are starting to wear. So that's why we make the recommendation. If one part's failed, it's likely that the others are close. So a lot of times we'll opt to do a full rebuild if you guys want to do it. Also, if you ever just have a leaky flapper seal, obviously you can pop these off. This one's getting a little corroded on there. Let's see if I can get one side off. I'm making this look real easy. This is why you got to call us. Then you don't have to deal with it. There you go. And this just twists off with these little dog ear connections here. And then you can just change out that flapper if you want. If you're getting a toilet that will run and then shut off, and then run and then shut off, that's probably a bad flapper, because what's happening is the water is sneaking through this seal here. So you get a new one, and then you just clip it on just like that. And then make sure it's the proper adjustment to the trip lever. So you want it to be like almost tight, but not quite tight. And then when you hit that lever, it'll pull it up and the flapper can do its job. If you leave it too loose, what can happen is it'll get caught underneath and then it'll run, and you'll end up having to call us anyways. So don't adjust it to where you've got too much slack. You also have these two nuts here, or these two bolts here. We call those tank to bowl bolts. That's what holds your tank to your bowl. And I would show you how to take it off, but it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think you need to. You literally just got to loosen it. And you either loosen it from the bottom or the top, spin that off. I'll show you one of them. I'm not going to do both. And sometimes if you get a leak that's coming from between the bowl and the tank, this is your problem. It's the tank to bowl kit. And the tank to bowl kit is going to include these 2 or 3 bolts. Some of your toilets are going to have 3. And so what you need to do is just get a new one with a new washer, and then a metal washer and a nut. We're going to pretend this is brand new. Put it on there, washer and nut, snug it on, and you've fixed your tank to bowl leak most of the time. That, and always change out the gasket as well, because your leak could be coming from there. So some of your toilets are going to have smaller tank to bowl kits, and some of your toilets are going to have these larger ones, and then some of the Kohlers are going to have more of a cylinder style tube. Now you can change those out to these other regular ones and convert them, but that's up to you. What I would recommend doing is if you have 2 bathrooms, take everything apart and then bring all the parts you took out to the hardware store, and have the representative at your local hardware store give you replacement parts that are new but the same, and then come back home and change it out. That way you're not making multiple trips. You know, just bring everything, they'll replace it, and then put all those new parts into your old toilet. All right, so this is the quote-unquote new flush valve. We're gonna stick it right in here. Now you want to position this thing to where it has free movement, and it makes sense for the trip lever. So like right here is a good, let's see, I think maybe like right there looks good. That should work well. And then we're gonna, the seal's on the top side, so literally just snug this up hand tight. And as you can see, I mean, it's having the right parts is everything, and the right tools. And then I make this look easy, but I've seen people that, like homeowners, trying to do this stuff and they make it look hard, so I'm not going to promise it's going to be this easy for you, but it is for me. But I've been doing it since I could walk, so we're going to go ahead and snug this up. You want to go tight, but not, you know, you don't want to break anything. So I go like pretty snug. We call it good and tight in Germany, I think is where they say that. So if it's good and tight, it's ready to go. We go ahead and stick this on. You're gonna line up these shapes with these shapes. And then we're gonna go ahead, stick it back down here. And go ahead and put the washer and the nut back on. So washer first, obviously, and then this nut. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up. Try to tighten them evenly so that your tank is straight with the bowl. Same on this side. And we're just about there. Thank you for joining us today. And I hope that you learned something, and hopefully you'll be able to handle all your own plumbing problems. With that flange, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and put some new screws in there. But I hope you know how to run a screw gun. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't be taking on something like this. Okay, let's tighten this down. And then the only other part we have not messed with is the seat and the trip lever. These seats are pretty self-explanatory. These are the easy clean seats, which this toilet is actually gonna get cleaned today because it's pretty nasty. My kids have been pissing on the bowl. I never do that. I never miss. So these literally just spin off, and same thing. You've got a nut on the bottom. And then when you're ready, I like these easy clean seats for this reason, but you click it back down and boom, locks it right on. So get an easy clean seat. You just put the bolt through, tighten it, and then attach it like I just showed you. As far as the trip lever goes, these are reverse threads, so keep that in mind. So you're gonna go opposite of what you think. Boom. Pop that off. Go grab yourself another trip lever. Some of them are chrome, some of them are white. Stick on the new one, washer. And then remember, it's backwards, so lefty tighty, righty loosey. And be good to go. These just need to be hand tight. Again, we're going to show you how to adjust this right here. We want it to be, see, that's a little bit loose there, so we're going to let's see here how it looks if I clip it. That's actually just about perfect right there. I like to crimp this open end so it doesn't come off. Come on. There we go. You can see it's just got just a little bit of play, but it's almost tight. Stick this back down there. We'll finish tightening the tank onto the bowl. Set this toilet with a nice even squish onto that wax ring. Tighten it back onto those flange bolts until it's nice and secure. You don't want any movement. If there's movement, that's a problem. And we'll have to make another video on how to deal with that, because that's more of a flange issue. But you've just learned how to completely rebuild a toilet. And if you live in Southern Oregon and you'd like to have us come out and do it for you, it's very easy. All you got to do is accept our price, and we'll make it happen same day. So call On It Plumbing. If not, hopefully you learned how to do it yourself. You have a good one.